take us through the journey, right? Like you talked about the overall growth. How did the infrastructure and your architecture evolve through this growth? Right? What kind of like did you containerize? What are the modernization that you did to get to this point?
So, right, Satya. I mean, if I go back 4 5 years down the line earlier, so it was a typical startup point where you are finding the feet in terms of product market fit. You are in a rush of building features.
Yeah.
Uh, there is cost pressure on you from a resource perspective also. You have to hit the market, hit the ground up and running, go to market pretty quickly in terms of your GTM plans. So as everybody starts, it was a monolith written in PHP and with MySQL RDS at the bottom. And you fire your jobs, you have your crons and whatnot. So, but if I very soon we realize that we need to uh, architect and scale this system slightly differently. I'll just take a minute and talk about how our system is different from majority of the systems which are
Yeah.
in the market. So if you look at a typical e-commerce or any especially B2C product, so you have your marketing campaigns, you have your demand generation tricks in the bag, SEOs and everything. People land up on your landing pages where you want them to. There's a typical funnel involved that, okay, if a million people come on your website, they browse your products, then they lead to your PDP page, and then they actually place a order after adding to cart. So it's a funnel which is coming up. So majority of these systems are read intensive systems. And if we look all around, there are multiple standard tricks in the book to scale a read intensive system, what we have.
Right.
in
Yeah.
in our in our case, the first step which what we picked up was to ease the post order experience for the seller and the customer. So when I say post order experience, so essentially if you place an order on, say, Amazon, so right from the PDP page where it says that, okay, Satya, if you will order this watch in next 3 hours, you will get a guaranteed delivery by tomorrow 8 p.m. And post that, you are handholded at every step, and you precisely know where your order is, as compared to if you order from abc.com. So you will say, after your order is placed, you will get a thank you message on your on the website, and post that you will receive a SMS from a blue dart or a e-card that, okay, your packet is there and this is the AWB, and now you are on your own. So, because we are not moving packets ourselves, and essentially we are integrated with almost all the courier partners who actually move the packet and deliver it. So, all the scans are done at different courier companies' end. And it is the onus of minimizing the lag uh, for the customer and the seller, it lies with us. So we have
Yep.
to be near real time in terms of those things. So
Yep.
imagine if millions of shipments are in transit, and each shipment is generating newer scans multiple times a day. So imagine the kind of noise or velocity or data which is generated in the system, that every time it has to be updated either through a webhook or through a polling mechanism, whatever the courier partner provides. In terms of webhook, there has to be a fallback and all that stuff, that in case webhook is not coming, then you have to ensure. So scaling such a system was very it was almost a first time for us, what we do. And this is one part of the story. Similar thing goes with the order fetching. So
Hmm.
when I say order fetching, orders are not placed on our side. So
Hmm.
either the orders are placed on multiple channels, Shopify, WooCommerce, and all, or they can use their own OMS systems, and we get the orders from the OMS systems. So the challenge was we have to revisit the entire solutioning bit. So one obvious thing, if I take the tracking use case forward, so it was that, okay, one thing was clear cut, that okay, we have to carve it out as a separate microservice. So separate microservice is okay, but then how will that communicate with the main system in terms of two aspects? One, which AWB to track, because the primary airwayable number is in the main system. And second goes, once the status is updated, and if there is a status change, then only the parent system or the main system should be notified. This was
Correct. Yeah.
to minimize the number of writes. So the system has to be made a little intelligent enough. So in terms of communication between services, we put in the KSQL DB and the Kafka thing which we had. From a solutioning bit, we identified that, okay, in terms of flow, we decided that, okay, we have to, and the number of services were increasing also in parallel. So the another thing what we decided that, okay, we have to move to a event driven system. So when I say event driven system, so the moment a new shipment is manifested, when I say shipment is manifested, that means the AWB number is generated, which the courier provides. So that is an event, and now the journey has started. So that event has to flow through the consuming system service, which is doing the tracking. And once the status is changed, that information has to go to the communication service. So that the communication can be sent to Satya that, okay, Satya, now your shipment is out for delivery.
Yeah.
So multiple such use cases are there. So at the hardware level, for that particular event management, which has to be done, a proper solutioning was envisaged using KSQL and Kafka connectors. The bin logs proved handy at this point in time to identify which are the things. Because we use Redis as a cache and as a in-memory DB both extensively. So a solution was put in place in order to flush the Redis keys also, because at times what happens, you have to when you are using it as a in-memory DB, you have to ensure that, okay, as soon as the system state changes, you are not notified, and the keys are updated accordingly, or they are flushed. So that mesh architecture was put in place. And as what happened currently, if I talk about, and in terms of the tech stack, if I say, so today also around little over half the system is in PHP, but we started using Golang extensively.
Okay.
So due to obvious reasons, what we have, low memory footprint, easy to understand, easy to do. And then the multi philosophy was primarily basis three steps. One, whatever we build is hooked onto the event driven architecture, so that every service is just has to worry about whatever events it produces and what it has to do on the consuming events. So both producer and consumer, that is one was there. Second was the communication bridge between multiple services, that was envisaged. And the third thing was which was envisaged was to have multiple caching layers in between, be it a write through cache or a read only cache. All those things were put into place. And finally the endeavor was to have conceptualized, because honestly, if I personally believe, if we go for a truly microservices architecture, beyond a point, it becomes very difficult to manage both from a software and a hardware perspective. So we consciously adopted a middle path. So if I talk about the Shiprocket core system currently, so we have close to 20 odd services,
Yeah.
or subsystems, as we call it, running, which are autonomous and self-complete within themselves.
Yeah. Mm.
And one more thing which we realized during the journey is the very which is a very typical concept, is the concept of vertical sharding. So that we produce, because if I talk about this tracking thing only, so there are multiple inputs which we get from the courier company, which is essentially a meta information, not the actual transactional information.
Mm. Mm.
So we have to shard the primary shipment and orders table. And due to these, just to put a case in point, due to these activities, what our primary DB, which was sitting as at around say 3.5 terabytes around a couple of years back. So today it is at around 2.2 or 2.3 TB. So it has reduced, and also we are able to arrest the velocity of growth.
Well,
And finally, we embarked on our containerization journey some time back. So that is
mm.
still in progress. So as a philosophy, any new products which we are doing, so we are using ECS for that.
Okay.
And there is a plan for which is, while we talk, it is already under execution, where we are slowly moving our all workloads towards it, and we foresee that within a quarter or so we will be there.
Awesome. Awesome. Amazing. Thanks a lot for taking through the entire journey from where you were to how you're moving towards modernized, containerized architecture, right? Now, you've also done at this scale a huge migration, right? One
Yeah.
is to build the system, get it running, scaling, re-architecting. The other one is the grown-up system has to be taken from one region to other region, right?
Mhm.
Take us through why you had to do, and how did you plan, and how did you achieve that whole stuff, right?
Right. So, Satya, I mean, when I joined Shiprocket early 2019, so we were based in Singapore region, AP Southeast, and that is when we were thinking, ki, shall we move to Mumbai?
Mhm.
Uh, but somehow we always resisted that temptation.
Mhm.
The simple reason being, moving a running business is both complex, and also you have limited or no elbow room there in terms of if things go wrong.
Mhm.
Especially the moment you talk about data. So we keep on resisting it, and the business kept on increasing in volume and size and complexity. But sometime April, May last year,
Mhm.
uh, the talks of this data protection bill and entire customer information, PII information, those things were becoming inevitable. In the interim, what happened, as we became bigger, our clients also became bigger.
Mhm.
So few of the clients had requirement of having their customer information residing within India.
Mhm.
So that was a prereq, or at least they wanted a assurance that okay, within such and such time frame, we will be able to do it.
Mhm.
So when I say residing data in India, so it was not limited to just a copy of data, but it was that their data will not reside outside
Mhm.
India.
Yeah. Mhm.
So it started from there, essentially, and we have a lean DevOps team with us. So at that point in time, we had 4 5 people in DevOps with us, and that is when, and also it will require certain sponsorship from the management also. because you will be running parallel workloads, slowly migrating and all that stuff for 3-4 months time frame. So that sponsorship, I mean, Sahil was kind enough to, Sahil, who is our founder and CEO, was kind enough to understand and make it happen. So we started this project somewhere in August last year.
Wow, okay.
So the first thing was, entire August was spent in the discovery, because what happens, we as a company also, I mean, growing as a startup, we are not a CMM level company where we have all processes in place, we have all entire documentation from the code and server perspective both.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have that. So
Mm.
there are a lot of unknowns. There is a lot of information and knowledge which is residing in people's minds. Lot of things which have to be discovered. Lot of things in terms of uh, absolute URLs and all that stuff is lying in the code. So that discovery was very critical and thorough in terms of what are the different EC2 instances, what are the RDSs, what are the S3 buckets, which are there, what exists in our servers, what are the different rules which are configured in terms of, there are certain processes which, batch processes which run into off hours. So for instance, we have to remit money to our sellers, which runs up post midnight every day. So all those things, that discovery played a critical part. And one key learning came from this exercise, that whenever we embark on any of the such exercise, we should take a pause, do a thorough job on discovery. And it will involve not just the people from the infrastructure team, but also people from the engineering team, and also people from the product and business sides. Because what we learned, a lot of use cases which were pointed from the product teams and even the business and the ops team, in way of that, okay, in this particular process you have highlighted this things, but maybe these couple of things you also need to take care of.
Yeah.
So post discovery, the other thing is, we bifurcated the entire exercise into small building blocks. When I say small building blocks, so we just some time back we talked about multiple services. So we have certain replicas, we have our master DBs. So as a
Yeah.
POC, or as the first thing, we picked up a small service. The first thing was to make a replica in the Mumbai region.
Yeah.
See, and see if it was able to catch up and all that stuff which was happening, and build a pipeline, so that and do a performance testing, optimize it so that your reads are within permissible limits. You put a plan that, okay, in that particular case, what is the time frame in which you will migrate the service. You look at all the dependencies from a bucket perspective. When I say bucket perspective, what are the jobs which are there, what are the crons which are there, what are the caches which you have to migrate, and all that stuff. You put a timeline to it, and try to move one by one in terms of, so for instance, you move the S3 buckets first. So because and then you try to test it, that, okay, what all related to that service. So, and then finally, in the end, the biggest thing which comes is your master DB, which you have to move and take care of it. So
Yeah.
for that, one thing is for sure, uh, you have to take a downtime for that, and assess. But end of the day, unless until the master DB is moved, you have a parallel setup running and fulfilling requests from the new setup. And till that time, you have your original one also there, so that in case of, you have to be prepared, in case anything goes wrong, you will have to switch it back.
Yeah.
So Those things were being done, and there was certain hiccups in some of the services, in the sense that it was related to discovery, that you forgot, you missed out that okay, this is a particular process which was also dependent on some other service, and you end up moving the entire service, this particular component, to a new region, and then you realize that it is dependent on something which is currently running in Singapore, and
Yeah.
you haven't made a provision for it.
Mm.
So then you move back, you do another session, and then you regroup at midnight the following day, and then you do it. So things like those happened, but entire activity lasted for around September, October, November, and first week of December. So roughly little over 3 months.
3 months.
Three months, and in those 3 months, for the last month or so, if I see from a spend perspective, so we did spend around 70-80% more of what our regular spends were in this
Wow.
particular activity.
Mm.
And but it gives me much faith and confidence that when we did the switchover of the core service on in first week of December last month, it was a smooth sail. It was a smooth sail. So the key learnings, if I have to summarize from such an activity: spend time on discovery, involve other departments also, not just the tech team, because they have the context. Second, break it down into smaller chunks, and chunks which fulfill either a functionality as a whole, or from a tech perspective, they encapsulate one particular operation. So, so,
Mm.
those will be the two qualifying criteria for identifying the chunks. And subsequently, once you move those chunks, which are self-contained units, then you observe them. And also, when you are making a move, all the departments should be aware that a move has been made,
Move it.
so that even if in case of the smallest noise, everybody is on its toes that something has changed, let us do it.
Yeah.
So and finally, over the course, take those learnings alongside, and then it will be okay. But yes, these stuff are really complicated.